If hell is anything, it's repetition. Every couple years there's some damn location that everybody thinks we want to visit over and over again. Look back in the last 5 years and say that space stations haven't been one of the golden childs. Though it never works out. As gamers, we keep trying. Entropy Center is a first-person puzzle game, a game where its key feature is freezing items in place. Its cornerstone is the player's ability to parse out how to get to the other side, and its main conundrum that Earth is getting hit with catastrophe after catastrophe, and no one knows why. But one group has saved the Earth every damned time. The Bruce Willis of facilities, the Entropy Center. And lucky, you're an employee there, because if you're on Earth, the game would just be called Over. The Entropy Center has a job. It's to save mankind over and over and over again. As an employee, you have to perform puzzles, which causes entropy, which fuels a massive engine in the space station, which can then reverse time when Earth comes under danger. Then they go and inform the governments about what happened so that everybody can prepare and stave off that catastrophe. And it's been done before. Asteroids, AI uprising to global wildfires. Puzzles are locations and platforms facing you that are progressing deeper and deeper into the futuristic Escher-like ideals that the scientists can keep throwing at you to fuel the entropy station. So when you reconfigure a bridge that falls or reversing time, all of those puzzles actually go to saving the Earth. As you continue to move forward, you're going to find more and more tools for the puzzles, like laser boxes to bouncing boxes and others, as you have to move through each puzzle, figuring out how to open a door in the section in between, telling stories, looking at emails, and trying to figure out if something more nefarious is going on, because what would life be without a little mystery? Similarities to Portal are going to be here, both in your AI assistant and those you see within the game world, but also Half-Life, though here you're all fully voiced. Both of those games have exuded mystery, and Entropy Center tries to do the same. I wasn't sure how I would take the puzzles in this game, a mixture of both structured and organic futures, waiting for you to figure out which way to go and what step needs to be changed in the order of things. I'm almost 100% sure I got through a couple of these levels by doing things that were assuredly well off the playbook, just using the tools that I had. I'm not entirely sure, though, that mattered. Since the game's treating you like possibly the sole protagonist, then the idea that you're thinking out of the box makes sense here. I could see people getting frustrated, though. Some of these puzzles were killers, others were not. Most I was getting through pretty fast, but then a couple came up and they had me thinking, what in the hell's going on here? Because the main way to interact with everything in the world is that you can stop it and reverse it or move it through time. Every single item in the game has a small amount of memory to it, where it was and where it was placed. Need to put a box on a pad to open a door, but they also need to be somewhere else. Then just carry the box to both places in order, move it through memory, and you'll be running to that new spot, and you'll actually be able to get through the door. Be aware, though, that while there is a small amount of casual battles later on, they're really just there to teach you how to solve puzzles. You can leap, and that's about it, and use your trusty reverse time gun that looks exactly like a Nerf gun I had as a kid. As I continued to traverse each one of these puzzles and understand just a little bit more about the game, I felt that it was a refreshing change of pace. Even during the more tense parts, Entropy Center feels genuinely comfortable with how it offers its gameplay, without needlessly injecting any big-budget spots or hardcore science into it. It is popcorn fiction to give you puzzles, and that's why it works. The Entropy Center itself, which is a space station, isn't built for the rich and famous. It's a puzzle-working platform for you to give energy to the engine. It makes the ISS look like a 5-star hotel at times, and other times looks like something that you would see in some European vacation. And a lot of times when we're playing these games, you're working through the rickety-ass innards of a space station that sounds like it's on the last end of a 50-year time span. Your thick head trying to make sure it doesn't puncture the outer wall's thin skins, always trying to fix something under pressure demands. You can literally hear this thing falling apart around you, though, and that facade of cleanliness in some places is completely destroyed when you look at other places and there's just ferns everywhere, as if nature's taking over. And you find yourself wondering where the hell all the fern seeds are coming from. The game's got its creaks, though, itself. Some pop in on items around the game world is close enough to your face it can make you think the entire thing is a giant hallucination in Event Horizon. What works, though, is when you go from puzzle to puzzlement, and then to that awe moment when you figure something out. You'll see 3 levels of verticality and have to figure out which way that you need to go and steps you need to take, while being integral to the actual puzzle itself by being a part of it, a temporary bride before you move on with divorce and jump to the next puzzle. But the feeling, that moment when you rush into a room, take stock of a spot, and just go to work feels good. Thinking I'm gonna make a puzzle my bitch, I jump in, 50 minutes later I'm eating the crumbs in the corner of an Oreo bag and still wondering how in the hell I got here in life. Then I figure it out and I realize I should have seen that right from the start. But regardless if it was painful or pleasurable, the feeling of accomplishment is what I like, and it's going to the stocks here, rapidly moving the boxes from time to time and leaping around. Then you're 10 puzzles in and it's getting harder and harder. I do admit one puzzle in the center absolutely stunned me. Three-dimensional thinking and time mixed in, as well as figuring out how to twist my own brain just a bit to get through it, jumping across a gap and feeling that victory on a room completed, though, pretty high in 2022. Each puzzle powers you through to the next story progression, jumping, lifting, figuring things out. But speaking of jumping, for some evil reason I can only assume is to laugh at us, the jump platforms that are introduced are particularly small, and they don't have the same bounce return on their edges, which wouldn't be so bad if the controls weren't a bit floaty. It results in you feeling like a 300-pound man jumping on a fucking postage stamp from off of a building, just holding a garbage bag as a parachute and hoping it's gonna work, especially when you move that platform between the third of 3 jumps and realize if you don't hit it, and that tension is high. It does end up helping the game out, but I will say that at times I did not feel that was perfectly done. When it comes to the presentation itself, the game looks pretty solid, but at the same time still looking a bit odd, and you can question why that's done. Some of the locations you travel to are interesting due to the off-kilter knowledge that these places really shouldn't be here, and that's a part of the mystery. When you leap a trench between 2 rocks inside of a satellite, you start to realize this is actually truly Uncanny Valley. For the most part, the frame rate's solid. I had 3 sections where stuttered happened for really no reason that I could tell at all. There weren't any streaming elements going on or any indications of something occurring or getting ready to. Pop-in, like I said, does happen. It's not prevalent, but some of the larger locations where you're working through more of the open spots, you can see items in the game world pop into place in front of you. It's never the geometry, or rarely at least. Usually it's like debris and other things. The game isn't going to win any awards. It's just all over the place aesthetically, sometimes on purpose and sometimes not. It sways between the finer lines of Portal-style future and one still holding on to the organic patterns that we keep as humans, and bringing those on board the space station, melding them together for probably killing the puzzle player.
Oh, nice.
Of the bottom 50 staff members.
Oh, right. Well, there's always room for improvement, I guess.
Bridge Cube Novice Badge has been added to your Entropy Badge collection.
Luckily, while you're doing it, you're going to be enjoying that soundtrack. It's perfect for this kind of game with the occasional fast tempo tracks during dangerous moments where you're against the clock or against what you think is a clock and a bad fate due to the world collapsing around you. It's fine. That synth laydown during exploration is really sweet. It evokes a sci-fi and horror vibe, but never gives away too much too soon. It may rely a bit too much on simple chords and progression, but it actually works in a game like this, where you could be staring at a couple boxes for 10 minutes trying to figure something out, and then the next puzzle you just sort of figure out on your own right away. You could argue good music makes a better game without being noticed, or elevates a game due to how good it is. It's probably both, but I noticed this a number of times and I loved it for that reason. The sounds are also very well done. You can hear the creaks and groans of the space station, the weird whir of computers computing problems, probably for past solving. You can hear metal fatigue inside and outside of your areas as more catastrophes and events seem to start and hit, and various items in the time gun all have their own distinctive sounds. I would say it's pretty well done. The voices are as well. The back and forth between the main character and the sentient gun is pretty cool, though it wears a little thin. It's shallow, hinges on a lot of jokes you probably already expect, especially in the middle and later sections where there are a few one-liners, though, that cracked me up, and then others that made me go, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I expected for this to happen. And when you're looking at if a game is fun, what works is so important, the sense of accomplishment here. While some puzzles won't tax the more experienced puzzle players in gaming right now, some of the later ones are good twists, and I never got bored of figuring something out and hearing that Star Trek swish of another door opening up for me to work through. That little bit of mystery keeps you going on, and I like the sci-fi popcorn feel. What doesn't work? Sometimes the game wears its pedigree as a giant jacket, not just its sleeve. The moments come and go or stick more to you, like the sentient gun and its jabs and hypocritical praise. I get it, those games are classic and those experiences are as well, but a bit more of its own spirit would have actually been very enjoyable. Also, some of the locations outside the puzzle rooms, like I said, look terrible. You're not going to be staring at them, but they are places for the prior inhabitants of the USS Bad Luck, so why is it that a bunch of chairs overlooking a vista would make a Nintendo 64 laugh at the polygon count? For the price of under 30 bucks, let's discuss the rating. As you guys know, I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or never touch it again rating system. For fans of this kind of game, something enjoyable is here, if not necessarily completely unique. And while it's not bringing any newcomers with its parsing out of the story moments across long walks between puzzles, or the sometimes lackluster graphics, the developers have something entertaining here. The requirements on the player, ultimately worthwhile of an experience to jump into and just play around. I like these kind of games, and like I said, not 100% sure if I did some of these organically or sort of hacked the system or did it the way they exactly figured out. But this is one of the first games I can say in a long time where I did a puzzle and was thinking to myself, this is actually me doing something that's probably outside of the box compared to anybody else. Maybe I am different and not just one more gear in the cog of a transmission that's getting ground down to catastrophe. So anyway, that's it for me. I hope you guys like these reviews. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. You got reviews for God of War and others coming up. More AI reviews. We got one of the best patrons ever. If I've saved you any money or warned you away from a bad game, jump into the Patreon. It helps the channel with everything being demonetized, and it's just a blast. We do video game streams. Some people do D&D in there. We talk about video games. It's a nice, safe place if you want to jump in and do so. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.